Hello, hello, mis cielitos, and welcome back. Coco is here, and I am continuing Raging Loop. Hello, Bellhound. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for coming. Last we left off was when we were doing the birthday stream, and we had just been about to see who would be chosen. Be hanged. Hanged? Hung? Hanged. I think it's hanged. Uematsu, got something to write on. I'm sure we do. But eventually, everyone agreed to it. They must have understood that this was how it had to go. There was place for storage deeper inside the hall. And that was probably where the sake and cup were kept. The inkstone case they kept there had a fresh paper inside, and by Kanzo-san's command, Rikako-san began writing down what she had to. Fusaishi-kun. Yes? They prepared sake and writing tools. That means they knew this would happen, yes? Yeah, the paper doesn't seem decades old either, and the water isn't rotten. So let me just double check something real quick. I just want to check the date just to be sure. Okay, yeah. Yeah, the paper doesn't seem decades old either, and the water isn't rotten. Doesn't that mean this whole thing was a setup by humans? This building is a shrine to the great Lord Shinai. 2 times a year, during the mountain festivals, the 4 head families of Kami Fujiyoshi present various offerings. Divine sake, writing tools, ropes, sickles. I was told these items had been kept here for a long time. That means that they weren't just for this time. The head family still knew that they would be used, right? I know nothing of that. I'd been married to the Higuchi family for almost a year, but I never heard of that. Oh, I never mentioned that, did I? So that's how it was.
Well, I was in the same situation myself for a while, but I never heard anything about that.
Why to tell you, of all people? No one would want to share their secrets with you.
I don't want to hear that from you, Uncle.
Sounds complicated. I also did not know that the things here would be used. There might be something that only the Miguruma know, or perhaps only a select few of the village heads.
You lying bitch! You're the head of the Uematsu!
Yoshibo, she's writing!
What? You wanna go, old fart?
Yoshi, cool off.
You too, Takumini! Chicken shit!
Old man, I can't say I don't understand him. Mamiya has a point. This means that the heads just acted nice and tributed the stuff, knowing this would happen to us. Uematsu, you sure you don't know anything? You can just say it. It'll all make sense then. I merely had a feeling that God would soon rise again. Sudden loud noises. They were caused by Chiemi and Haru-chan. No way! But no, I really... God is... Oh boy, Haru-chan's already... What? Haru. The sudden burst of happenings was too much for me to keep up with. Harumaki Shima suddenly started laughing out loud. Kanzo Shi's face paled right before he ran over to her. Everyone else just stared at them, dumbfounded. Haru-ni... again? Weren't you cured?
Haru-chan, hang in there.
Out of the way, Chikamochi. Crap. Masato, you know anything?
See, didn't I already tell you before that mental illnesses cannot be treated in a place like this?
Don't touch my granddaughter!
Menacing and pushing everyone away, Hanzo-san embraced Haru-chan tight.
Haru, calm down. I'm here.
I had no idea what was happening. God was sort of like a keyword. No idea why, but last time it had a profound effect on Chiemi. It worked on Haru-chan too.
What did you hear?
It actually happened before. Was it different from the Okami-sama and Shinai-sama? Okami. Woof. Come to think of it, in addition to woof, Okami could also mean great god. Was that significant?
The wolf is coming!
Not now, you old fart.
Takumi-san, no violence!
Thus I offer homage to Shinai the Almighty, so peace may come to pass. Thus I offer homage to Shinai the Almighty, so peace may come to pass.
Man, things were getting out of hand. Still, Haru-chan eventually calmed down, and albeit still delirious, began talking normally.
What? Did I collapse? Anemia?
Keep it together.
Oji-chan?
By the way, Chiemi too had long since recovered, and she was now acting like nothing had happened. Why were they so ready to accept the feast itself when they freaked out like normal people over their own family and fellow villagers acting so weird? I could understand being scared of monsters. And curses too, for that matter. But... they also had the insanity to hang their own mothers and accept being hanged by the ones they loved. It was something straight out of hell. Just how many times would I have to see this kind of thing before I understood it all? Oops. I'm done writing.
We'll get back at it in a moment.
The climax was drawing near. Rikako-san had written a list of all the people participating in the feast of the Yomi Purge. The penmanship was nice, and the order was proper. It felt kind of like a petition or something.
We'll vote starting from the end. Uematsu, you record who's voting for who. Shiemi, Yasunada, You check if she's doing it right.
All right.
Okay. We will not vote for Mamiya-sama and Fusaishi-sama, correct?
And that's what I'll do, but that you decide on your own.
That sounds fair to me. We should think about what they said and decide whether we agree by ourselves. That's democracy.
Uncle, you're kissing Haru-chan's grandpappy ass now.
I'm simply saying what I think is true. Let us begin.
Is this how you act when you're about to choose who to kill? The wolves must hang.
This is wrong. It's a real crime. Hisako-san was very normal. I liked that. However, I didn't think it'd help her survive for long.
Who you choosing, you old fart?
I had no idea if he understood the situation, but he did point at someone. Specifically, me. Huh?
You whoop?
Rikaku-san, one vote for him. Yes. This is really wrong. Why does everyone's vote have the same value?
If you don't get it, then shut up.
What is it I don't get? Tell me! Mamiya-san, everyone must have the same voting power. I mean, if there was a way to remove it, the wolves could use it too. If you could use reading to remove someone's vote, that would be another thing for them to take advantage of. It'd probably work against you as well. After all, we probably have a number of people here who think that outsiders shouldn't vote. Jamie grumbled while others gave disgruntled frowns. I know it's unfair to you, but in order to protect Yasumizu from all this, we can't avoid putting our lives on the line. You want to survive, sure, but that's the attitude of a wolf. A human must not be against getting hanged, unless you have a guardian, anyway. I'll check after this is over. Good. Next.
Uematsu. I'm voting for ya.
So that was his choice, huh? Do you have a reason for that?
Not really.
Huh? It's not that weird, is it? Hanzo thinks that everyone's suspicious, but also believes that we must sacrifice someone. If he can't go for Susaishi-san or Mamiya-san, the ones easiest to hang here are Uematsu-san or you, Nosato-san. You're all so... I understand. I accept the vote.
Oh man. Ba-chan, you're next.
I don't really get it. But if Kan-chan ain't voting for the outsiders, then I'll do the same. And Kan-chan and Yasukun aren't wolves, right?
That's safe to believe.
Then I'll vote for Yoshi-kun.
Oh my god. Cody's about to beat your ass. She's just gonna raise her hand, her fist, and deck you right there. Huh? You damn hag. Why?
You're so violent and don't listen to your mother. Your attitude must be the reason why the corruption came.
That's your reason. I get it. So you're a wolf who just wants to kill everyone you don't like. I'm next. I'm voting for Mako.
Muro-sama.
She came to us at the most inconvenient time and we don't know anything about her. It's too shady.
But she's so little.
I know, but what are we supposed to do if she's actually a wolf?
It seemed like he had a point at first glance, but...
Just so you know, I don't believe in monsters. But for all we know, it's possible we really will die if we don't follow the rules. Don't worry. If it comes to that, I'll hang her alone. Ooh, buddy. Oh god, that just gave me the worst image. I hope we don't ever have to see her die. Like, graphically, I mean, like, she died in the previous actual ending we got, but they tastefully kind of left it vague-ish. But if we get a scene of a hanging with her, like what we got for Cowdy, no. And that's all I'll say. Howdy-san, you're next.
Yasunaga, and I refuse to vote.
I'm surprised she hasn't commented on Kai voting for Yoshi. At the very least, I would have expected her to then go right around and use her vote for her. Huh. Okay, that makes me a little suspicious. You shouldn't. This is the only way for humans to fight the wolves. People who don't vote could be considered silent supporters of the wolves.
Then who will you vote for?
Can I speak up before it's my turn? If you want.
I'm planning to vote for Nosato-san.
What?
No one's shady yet. I agree with Kanzo-san on that. And since it's possible the village heads know something, you're entirely deserving of our suspicions, Nosato-san. Uematsu-san might be the same in that regard, but she moved to Yasumizu 3 years ago, while you only came here recently. And that's enough to think you might know about this. And that's all, really. It's nothing personal. I see. So Yasumizu's hatred of Kami Fujiyoshi goes bone deep. I might have to change my outlook a bit.
I mean, can you really blame them for hating Kami Fujiyoshi?
Then I'll vote for him too.
I thought as much.
Well, I believe I understand your family to a certain extent.
But hanging me will be a waste of a day. Keep that in mind.
My turn.
Yasunaga was a wolf the first time around. And I mean, there's nothing saying that he can't be one again.
My turn. I'm voting for the new arrival.
Seriously?
Uncle, you're not kissing the old guy's ass anymore?
No one's kissing anything. I simply think he's trying to weasel his way into surviving without lying in the process. I'm not completely confident, but as things are, the most suspicious person here is the one who had the least reason for wanting to survive.
Everyone wants to survive, damn it!
Requesting anything better from a person who has been here for only a day seems a bit cruel.
Say whatever you want. That's it from me.
Unfortunately for me, he did have a point.
I already said my vote. Mochi, you're next.
One for Uncle.
Oh dear. He's got 3 so far.
Chikamochi, you too? I mean, it's looking to be a vote-off between you and Richan. Richan's a girl, so I figure I'll let you take it.
Chikamochi-sama. I have nothing against protecting Rikako-san, but that is an entirely different matter.
Anyway, it's time for the one most likely to vote for Uncle Yoshi.
One for Uematsu.
Huh?
I just think she's shadier than that scrawny dumbass.
Well, I wanted to vote for a certain hag here, but I guess it's more important to actually kill someone. You do the same, Cheney. I'm voting for you, Yoshi-kun. Huh? Wait, why, huh? Yoshi-kun, if you really aren't a wolf, you should stop picking fights with people. There's no guarantee that the wolves are all coming for Yoshi's people or the elders, you know? There's no proof you aren't a wolf either. I'm almost completely against everything Osato-san's saying, but I agree with that much. I hope it's not you, but maybe my vote will encourage you to knock it off. Is this for real?
Yoshitsugu, please come down. Everyone, please. I beg you.
Don't worry, Yoshi-kun. Don't worry, Yoshi-kun won't die that easily. You're next, Haru-chan. That guy over there.
He pointed at me. Well, I can't blame you for not trusting me. Haruaki-sama.
You're next, Rikaku-san.
I'm voting for myself.
What?
Is that allowed, old man?
Nothing against that, right, Taiba? I've never heard of this happening, but it ain't forbidden. Rikako-san, I know what I said, but you don't have to force yourself like that.
No, your spirit for self-sacrifice moved me and made me realize that perhaps my role here is to take in the hatred of everyone present. If you do not know who to vote for, please vote for me. Just please, spare this little girl. What was I supposed to do with this? Mako. Pick someone to hang.
Ahem. You goddamn brat. Don't bully One-chan.
Haruaki-san, you're next. Yonosuke-shi, Yoshitsugu-kun, Rikago-san, and I all had 3 votes each, while Mako-chan just had 1. What if several people get the same amount of votes?
Huh? And the rest of us will vote to hang one from just them.
Well, well. The suspects who'd go up to the next round would lose their right to vote, huh? That was something. But if that was how it worked, then... what if there's a complete split on the second vote? If that's what everyone wants, we won't hang anyone. Well, that was interesting. They go for a final vote by limiting the suspects and giving the voting right only to the rest. If there were several in the limited group who received majority votes too, they could vote again. But if there was a completely perfect split among them all, then they couldn't cut the numbers down again nor return back to square one, making it impossible to continue the voting. This was actually quite a delicate situation. Yeah. I don't know if that's like actually part of the rules of the game or if that's just what they're deciding to do. I'm thinking it's the latter. There are a couple of things that they're kind of just... as long as it doesn't break Lord Shinai's rules, I think the rest is just what they're making up as they go. The ones in the lead were Kyonosuke-shi, Yoshitsugu-kun, Rikako-san, and me, with Mako behind us with just 1 vote. Normally thinking, I could vote for one of the other 3 to make sure I survived. Then, even if Mamiya-san picked me, I wouldn't die right away. There'd only be a final vote, which was dangerous in its own right. However, I didn't feel like voting for Yoshitsugu-kun. His votes were mostly just a punishment for being a brat, so actually killing him would shock everyone present. There was also Kaori-san, who would most likely make a mess of the whole feast again later on. I wanted to avoid that. Then was I to vote for Kyonosuke-shi or Rikako-san? The former seemed like the better choice. He'd voted for me, and he'd probably prefer to die rather than see Rikako-san hanged. However, he really didn't feel like a wolf to me. Did I really kill him off just because the village heads like him were so resented here? What will you do, Mamiya-san? Why are you asking? Honestly, I feel the very act of voting is risky right now, so I want your opinion. I will prevent a murder, if possible, anyway. Did she also see it? Did she notice the unlikely, but possible way of preventing everyone's lynching? That helps the wolves, you know. Like I care. This is Japan. We have laws. If you're going to approve of crime just like that, I'm going to stop you like the good person I am. Her words were just too reasonable. Honestly, I feel like a number of you are voting to make a certain something happen. I mean, you wouldn't normally get votes spread out so evenly. Would a death in a situation like that really be a vote by consensus? Yeah, I didn't think I'd get a response. I had to think this through. In most situations, hanging someone was the way to make progress. However, I still had another option, the snake's power. If I didn't use it at least once, there'd be no point in me having it. First and foremost, I had to make it through this day. However, this was a situation without any clear enemies. If we picked someone arbitrarily, wouldn't it be bad for us in the long run? I couldn't help questioning that course of action. But there was no point in lying to myself. Honestly, I just really wanted to exploit this loophole in the rules. If you are hesitant, vote for me, not Mako. Rikako-san went and emphasized that. He really didn't have to worry, though. Mako wouldn't die no matter what happened. Even if the 2 remaining votes went to her, he'd just become another option in the final vote. The candidates would either be me or one of the village heads. Rikako-san would become a good dumping ground for votes. After all, she voted for herself, and suggested that others do the same. She was by far the closest one to death. What she did was pretty much suicide. Did she have suicidal tendencies or something? She did seem a bit dim in certain ways, but not completely simple and idiotic. Huh? If you're hesitant, vote for me, not Mako. Why the emphasis? And why then? Oh. Yeah. I guess I couldn't kill Rikako-san or Mako after all. That left me with only one answer. I vote for Mako. Ooh. Mamiya-san voted for her too, meaning we had 5 people with 3 votes on them. We would then start a final vote centered around them. There were 15 people here. According to the rules Kanzo-san described, 5 candidates would lose their votes, so only 10 would get to vote. That made for a very special situation. It was the key to creating a very unlikely situation where no one died. By the time my turn came, there were 4 people with 3 votes. If Mamiya-san gave the votes off to someone else, the final vote would only have 4 options and 11 voters. There was no way to divide them equally. Someone would have more votes, and we'd certainly have a hanging on our hands. It'd be fine if the split turned out to be something like 2-3-3-3, resulting in a final vote, assuming the one who got 2 got her vote back. But if it was something like 1-3-4-4, and those who got 4 would be voted on again, you'd either have 13 or 11 voters, an odd number regardless. However, there were 5 suspects and 10 voters now. If the votes were split evenly at 2-2-2-2-2, the voting would be cancelled, and no one would be lynched today. Mamiya-san had realized this too. That was why she hadn't hesitated to vote for Mako. That left us with another problem, though. After all, the sacrifice was as good as decided. Can we just vote for the same person? Crap, Kanzo-san was going for it!
I still...
Wait, let people vote again! Jamie realized it and acted on it. Yes, of course. Otherwise Rikako-san, please show me the results. Yes, certainly. Exactly. He realized it too, and looking at the results just confirmed it. Exactly. As things were, I, Yoshitsugu-kun, and Mako would have 2 votes, Rikako-san would have 1, and Kyonosuke-shi would come out on top with 3 votes. Of course, there wouldn't be any problems if the results changed, but... Got a reason for that? Of course I do! What's the point of a final vote if we don't actually vote again? Chi, did you vote to make the numbers the same right from the start? Jamie fell silent. She had no rebuttal. The purpose of the final vote was to cut off the minority, those who had the votes, and let the majority votes do the talking. That was why it was impossible to select anyone when the votes were split perfectly, and there were no minorities or majorities. However, here in Yasumisu, where the suspects lost the right to vote, things were a bit different. By simply removing the right to vote, you already had a difference in votes, so it wasn't necessarily necessary to vote again, as the minority that should have done that didn't exist. The 10 who could still vote would vote for the same people, so why wouldn't they? Can't you people vote for the human's sake? Those words rang powerfully in the ears of Yasumisu's inhabitants. People had to put their lives on the line for the human's sake. This isolated society considered that the right thing to do. Inviting and voting again was a sin. Who would insist on committing that sin? Especially among the 3 who voted for Kyonosuke no Satoshi. Which one of them would change their minds and vote for Rikako Uematsu?
There were actually only 2 ways left. Would Mochi change his mind or not?
Well, yeah, honestly, this doesn't seem like it happens often. It's kind of interesting. Alright, I'm switching to Richan.
Chikamochi! Old man, stop!
Kanzo Makishimashi stood up and clenched his fist, but Takumi-san went after him just in time to stop him.
That's just how Chikamochi is. You know that. If he ends up helping the wolves because of it, he's a traitor. I know. I know that. But you're feeling it too, right? Come on.
Everyone here was gloomy and tired. They wanted to end this and leave as soon as possible.
Sorry, it's just that none of us are as prepared for this as you are.
I am. But Kan-chan, there's no helping it. It's the law to hang according to groups' consensus.
I know. Don't come crying to me if you regret it.
Feeling slightly guilty, everyone silently listened to Kanzo-san's words of condemnation. The first day's feast had ended, and I'd actually contributed to the group not killing anyone, something I was completely against last time. Kanzo-san left the hall in a deafening silence. After he was gone, everyone else slowly stood up and left. They all wore varied expressions of relief. Usaishi-san, I want to talk to you later. All right. Hearing that as I left was actually kind of scary. Hey, Haruaki-san. Oh? Haruaki-sama. I have a moment later.
Whoa.
Don't act like hot shit just 'cause you have a pretty face, you lunatic.
Oh. So that's what this was about.
Hey, talk to me too, piss man.
Before it sticks, let me just ask you to stop with that name.
Wanna talk to me?
You're just gonna try to prank me again.
What's going on here?
Hey, careful with these secret meetings.
The one to interrupt the weird event was Takumi-san.
I know the mist is about, but Yasumiso's small. You'll be heard even if you whisper, and it'll be barely half a day before everyone knows what you talked about. You shouldn't share anything too important.
Thanks for the warning. That was true. Even if someone did share a secret with another person, there was no guarantee it'd be kept. Plus, keeping secrets would sow distrust, and meetings with the opposite gender could spark jealousy. I didn't want anyone to spend the next feast talking about how I was a wolf, having secret meetings or something. Better to discuss things out in the open, where there would be witnesses. Usaishi-san, we must prepare lunch. Are you good with a knife? Somewhat. And so, it was time for food. We didn't have much besides the ingredients we'd had this morning, but there was some curry roe in the storage, so we started with that. However, it was just one family-size box. It wasn't quite enough for 15 people. We ended up filling the thin curry sauce with soup stock, salt, and soy sauce. The resulting flavor was pretty potent. The curry we ended up was more of a soup, but the diners seemed to like it. Apparently, curry like this wasn't unusual here, but it was only brought out for special occasions. This was actually Yasumisu's local curry. That made me kind of sad, but it wasn't enough to stop me from eating,
what should have probably been called curry rice gruel or something. And I'm going to take a quick break. Be right back.
Alrighty. I'm back. Then I washed the dishes and checked on everyone. Since Takumi-san suggested we stay close together, we spent our time in the slightly cramped dining halls. Thank you, Belle. Kanzo-san left, though, saying something about looking around.
Stay here. Call out when you step out, or I'll shoot you dead.
A threat like that made everyone pretty reluctant to leave. He had the right idea, though. Splitting up before had rapidly thinned the number of humans. That was fine and all, but the threat seemed a bit much. It felt like Kanzo-san was tripping his own death flag. The ones left at the dining hall were chatting, with the students being the most talkative. They talked about their students, while Chamie spoke of her time in college. Apparently, Chamie was majoring in linguistic anthropology. Oh, that's very cool. When asked what that involved, she answered, reading books and writing reports. So it didn't seem like her seminars were particularly formal. No one discussed the feast, though. That was related to what Takumi-san had said, which seemed like an unwritten rule here. Whatever the case, everyone was way more cheerful than they were this morning. Chikumochi-kun occasionally spoke to the old wolf guy who was sitting in the corner of the room, while Kinosuke-shi did the same with Rikako-san. Mamiya-san seemed slightly uncomfortable, though. I'd have to talk to her later. Can't imagine why. There was some segregation and it felt a bit cramped, but it did seem peaceful. It was objectively an awful situation, though. No matter how everyone felt, one of us would definitely be targeted tonight. The current atmosphere was probably better than doom and gloom, but it was bad that no one was interested in reviewing and analyzing today's feast. Who would be the target today? After today's feast, I could see several people that were a threat to the wolves. The ones taking the lead were Kanzo-san and Yasunaga-kun. The two were monkeys and extremely charismatic to boot. They had both insisted on hanging someone for reasons other than personal grudges, and that was all great. However, Kanzo-san's assertiveness made him stand out. Well, as... oh yeah, I'd completely forgotten that Yasunaga-kun was one of the monkeys. So yeah, he can't be a wolf. However, Kanzo-san's assertiveness made him stand out, while, as Kanzo-san aptly pointed out, Yasunaga-kun had a habit of getting ahead of himself. It wasn't good that there was some sort of rivalry between them. Kanzo-san normally commanded a lot of respect, but the young ones, like Yoshitsugu-kun and Mochi, had a tendency to rebel. The humans' ultimate goal was to wipe out all the wolves, but since their lives were on the line, they could easily switch priority to taking the lead. If they had different ways of approaching the situation, you'd get a confrontation between the generations, with the elders against the youth. That'd waste some time and effort. If that happened, humans would, once again, lose all hopes of winning. Yasunaga-kun had eventually fallen silent today, but I'd hope he'd recover by tomorrow and properly cooperate with Kanzo-san. And I hope they would do it in a way that ensured my survival. What did the wolves think of those two? They both have to be eliminated or led into destroying one another.
seemed plausible. By going for someone else, though, they had a chance of taking out a different Guardian receiver. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because going after them, I feel wouldn't be the best move, because since everyone already knows that they are human, no one would ever vote for them. So I think there's a higher chance of you being able to manipulate people into voting for another human if they're still alive. I also had to keep Takumi-san and Kyonosuke-shi in mind. Takumi-san was right between the elders and the youth. I had no idea what he was planning to do next, but he had the power to swing a lot of votes. Kyonosuke-shi was pretty powerless in that regard, but since he wanted to protect Rikako-san so badly, he could get Tae-san's cooperation. Rikako-san and Meiko had to be protected. That was something I'd decided. It'd be pretty bad if I was making a mistake there, though. Also, I'd found out that Mochi was a real joker. What do you mean you found out? You hadn't realized that before? He'd probably vote for whatever seemed funny or interesting. Things had gone my way thanks to his whimsicality this time, but I felt like this wouldn't be the last time he'd pull a stunt like that. As I thought to myself, I finished washing the dishes. Thank you. Let's have some tea. Oh, I'd love some. I passed the counter and walked up to the table. Hello. Good work in there. You already seem pretty used to your job. I had to do this much when I still lived with my parents. What a guy, hear that? You all have it good here. Study hard. I know. I don't. That's why I'll break all the plates Pissman fixed. Plates aside, please stop calling me that. Then what should I call you? Hassan, maybe? Sounds good. You can call me Mochi then. Yo, Mochi. Hey, Hassan. By the way, Fusaishi, you got nothing to say about this guy's clothes? Whoa, I forgot. It looks kind of good on him, and it's not uncommon these days. Cute, ain't it? Seriously? You got lots of these in Tokyo? Not a lot, but yeah, they're around. I don't get it at all. Well, Chikamuchi's special though, so I don't think anything of it. I'm a natural wonder. A natural disaster, maybe. Now, Fusaishi-san, may I have a moment? The tension in the air grew palpable. You forgot what I said? No, I didn't, but you can't expect anything shady from me, can you? I'm a monkey. Well, that's true. Just don't overdo it. Alright, let's head upstairs. Are you sure we should be meeting secretly like this? Yes. We revealed that we could talk. I even think I should sometimes talk with everyone. Make it fair, huh? Would that really work? First of all, do you believe me? I don't have a reason not to. Fusaishi-san, do you have a guardian? I can't say. Why? Your behavior on me would change and might tip someone off. I'm not telling anyone until I've survived the night. Alright. Who do you think is suspicious? I don't know. Who do you think isn't? Jamie-chan, Rikako-san, and Meiko-chan. Why do you think that? Don't you have your own suspicions? I see where you're coming from, but if you ask me, you're plenty suspicious yourself. Fair point. Chiemi-chan volunteered to die. Risking that is way too dangerous for a wolf. But she didn't get a single vote. We weren't even talking about votes at that point. We were just discussing volunteers to be hanged. Chiemi-chan was actually the first to volunteer. Unlike you and Haru-chan, she didn't have any family to try and protect her at all costs. Seemed like too reckless of a move for a wolf. I can say one thing. Yes? I share your opinion. We laughed a little. Not sure I understand the other two, though. Especially Rikako-san. It's possible she tried to gain our trust by copying Chieni. She might be hiding something. True, that seems reasonable. Well, on the other hand, that could have just been her way of competing with Chieni. Excuse me? Before the mist came, Uematsu-san and Chieni were fighting over you, right? How did he know? I hadn't sensed anyone around. I didn't have much homework yesterday, so I took care of it quickly and headed to the dining hall with Mochi and Haru-chan when we saw you. I see, so nothing's a secret, huh? Please calm down. Had I said anything else I didn't want anyone to hear, I was kind of worried now. That aside, can I hear what makes you so certain? It's just a hunch. A hunch? Yeah. I considered telling him the real reason, but decided it was definitely impossible to do so at the moment. No one's listening. Seriously, it's just a hunch. Also, that's not exactly accurate. You're listening. Don't be pedantic. Well, that's true. That's probably the right way to approach this. Honestly, even mentioning Meiko-chan in this conversation felt like a mistake. I could only hope he didn't look too deep into it. Should I still be trusting you if Meiko-chan dies tonight? A leading question. I'd have to choose my words carefully. I don't know why you'd think that. If I was a wolf, just giving you all this info would be suicide. That's true. Alright, then I'll suspect you if anyone else dies. Harsh, I thought you'd trust me by now. I actually trust you more than anyone else right now, though keep in mind that I can't really trust anyone until the feast is over. Not even your friends and family. I'd love to say I trust them. But looking at what happened to the Makishima family, I can't let myself be so naive. So, he had doubts about the official story, too. Also, ignoring whether it was done by a human or not, someone's already died. If someone else dies tonight, and the culprit doesn't present themselves, we can assume that they accepted their role as a wolf, and have begun killing and deceiving the humans. It's probably not what standard law would say, but this is a dangerous situation where doing such things comes with certain punishments. I see, so you've already justified it, huh? Justified? I guess you could say that. I couldn't handle any of this if I wasn't convincing myself that I was right. Some wanted to survive, even if it meant bending what was right. While others didn't want to discard what was right, even if it meant death. Makes me think of that manga, Parasura, which has very similar things, very similar themes. There's a lot of cannibalism in it, and people resorting to that in order to avoid death. And so there's a big question of, is that right, or are you casting aside your humanity by doing that, and it would be more righteous to just die? Which one of them was more human? Are you planning on being a lawyer or something? Well, I did consider it, but that won't happen now. Why are you so certain? If I survive, it'd be because I hanged the wolves. Yasunaga-kun was smart. But at the same time, he was the sort of perfectionist who wouldn't settle for knowing only part of the truth. I was kind of worried. He would get lost in his own theories, making him unreceptive to other ideas. Yeah, I see your point. And that's it from me. This whole situation is difficult even for us locals. I can't even imagine how bad it is for you. Well, at least I don't have much to lose here. Mamiya-san, on the other hand. I don't want there to be any unnecessary casualties. I hope she comes to understand that, among other things. I'll be careful when dealing with her. You should be careful you don't butt heads with Kanzo-san too much. That's true. Though this did help me earn some of Yasunaga-kun's trust, I resolved not to have any more secret meetings. I returned to the dining hall and chatted a bit, then got a chance to bring up what I wanted to talk about. Mamiya-san, who was scribbling something on her notepad, threw her pen down exhaustedly. Taking notes about what's happening here. She jumped a bit, and quickly stuffed her notepad back into her bag. Well, yes, I'll have to go to the police once I get out of here. I want to be able to provide proper testimony. So far I have slight suspicions towards Kaori-san because of how she reacted over Yoshitsugu being voted for. But I also feel like there would be some sort of dramatic irony if Mamiya was a wolf, considering we saved her life and she's only participating in the feast because of that. That was the right idea. The previous me never made it that far, though. If you're free right now, there's something I want to ask you. What is it? You're an ex-occult writer, right? What's your take on the local legends? I stopped that when I was still just an amateur, though. But I do think that it's not very Japanese. Can I continue? None of you will be upset. We seem to be attracting a lot of attention. Who knows? I'm kinda interested. I don't give a damn. I don't have anything better to do. What about you, Richan? This is your thing, right? No. Work concerning the divine is the Miguruma's responsibility. But I would be lying if I said I was not interested. We rarely have an outsider seek to discuss our faith.
If Uematsu-sama says that, then I got nothing against that.
No one else weighed in, so Mamiya-san began to speak.
In polytheistic religions, gods die very often, but you'd be surprised how rare it is for humans to be the culprits. Especially here in Japan, I can't think of anything. In the Shinto mythos, all the gods that are killed die at the hands of either other gods or godlike heroes. This probably had something to do with suspension of disbelief. Someone capable of slaying a god would surely be divine themselves. In the local story, wolves and snakes are the mountain's gods' guardian servants. They're basically gods, like inari foxes, the kitsune. There are Japanese faiths that venerate such servants. Snakes, monkeys, birds, even wolves have shrines dedicated to them.
They do?
Yes, Chichibu is a popular wolf shrine. Ever heard of the Mitsumine shrine? They have wolf statues in place of the traditional lion dogs.
Well, that was something to keep in mind.
In the Kumano faith, they worship a three-legged crow.
The Yatsugarasu?
While the great Hiei shrine reveres a monkey. Oh, what about snakes? Umiwa shrine is famous enough. They worship a giant snake called Uomono Nushi. Strangely enough, the name is written as Ukami, great god, but read as Uomiwa.
Interesting.
Anyway, yeah, I know that other servants cooperated with them, but the legend here describes nameless humans slaying a god. That's highly irregular. Misako-san paused for a moment. By the way, doesn't the story of the fish remind you of something? The part about the Okami-sama drunk and then killing them.
That's how Susano defeated Orochi, right?
Ah, I know that one. He cross-dressed as a woman who was supposed to be sacrificed. Gave Yamato no Orochi lots of sake and killed him. Yes, I think the local story has roots in other famous stories including that, just like most myths and folktales. The original story is probably Orochi's slaying, but I can't imagine how it became about a wolf, where the existence of a hero disappeared to. In Japan, it's rare to see stories about killing wolves too. It's more of a Western thing. They had their livestock to protect. Was it perhaps a recent development that borrowed elements from Western storybooks? Like Little Red Riding Hood, for example.
The wolf is coming!
That too. That's one of Aesop's fables.
Oh?
I think I heard about that in a culture lecture. If local and foreign stories mix, the results often become folklore in just a few years. Exactly. Word of mouth is really unreliable after all. Give it 1 or 2 generations, and something becomes a story from a long, long time ago.
Ba-chan, how long has Kami Fujiyoshi Shinai Shrine been around for?
I heard it predates the age of the samurai.
Maybe the time it was passed on was different. If not, then maybe it refers to a local event that happened a long time ago.
Like...
They might have banded together and chased away a tyrannical lord, or killed a particularly large wild dog.
That seemed likely.
There's one thing that's certain, though. Yomotsu Okami, was it?
Yes, wolves that returned from Yomi.
The term is definitely based in Japanese myth.
Oh yeah. I was curious about that too. What exactly? Yomotsuo Kami is another name for Izanami, the goddess who birthed this country. Izanagi's sister, as well as his wife. Whoa! Didn't expect a major legend to come up. Even I knew Izanagi and Izanami.
Huh? They're siblings who married each other?
It's pretty common in myths.
I see.
What's wrong with you? Anyway, Izanami lost her life after birthing many gods, and after a lot of trouble ended up becoming the goddess in control of Nenokuni. Nenokuni? Another name for Yomi, the underworld. Yet another name for it is Neno Katatsukuni. Some say it's somewhere beyond the sea, while others think that Nenokuni is just a place within Yomi. That's where she's known as Yomotsuo Kami. Well, resurrection is written as returning from Yomi, so the words probably share an etymological root. Both Ukami and Yomi just happened to match, but probably still lives on as a way to refer to her.
Oh, I see.
That seems likely. In fact, the very usage of the word Yomi makes it clear it incorporates ancient Japanese myths. That's true. Ba-chan, she's not bad-mouthing our stories or anything. Yes, he's right. It's a unique story, and I think it's very valuable.
It's not about it being unique or valuable. I believe in Shinai-sama and live accordingly. That's what I was taught, and how I lived my whole life. I'm not sure how to feel about an outsider's view.
Okay, let's leave it at that. Yeah, now for something more important. Huh? Something to do with me again. You too. It's something I want to ask everyone here. It's about the song that Meiko-chan and Rikako-san sung. Oh. Prayer to Shinai? Probably. That song's main theme is the Feast of the Yomi Purge, right? My words made everyone freeze.
Shinai-san's guardians are...
But not for long. Yeah, that. Do you know any more?
1 cake, 2 funky, 3 blow, 4 rider.
That was probably wrong in the worst of ways. Low rider? You just had to pick up on that, huh? That's not quite right, I'd say. What do you mean? That song taught us to prepare for the mist and exterminate the Yomibito, right? The same goes for the Feast of the Yomi Purge, but there's nothing in the song about the ancient killing of the wolves or the Yomotsuo Kami. Yeah, that was one of the things I found curious. I think it's about some old barbaric tradition that's long gone. Nothing more. I see. That's more than enough if you ask me. Even if it doesn't fit the situation perfectly, it's still pretty close. I don't know about the whole wolf or Yomibito thing, but it's true that Fujiyoshi is being invaded by Yomi, and we are fighting it. Well, that's stretching things a bit, but yes. It's stupid, right, Chiemi?
Well, maybe. Takubi, did you just call us stupid? We're being punished because we harbor too much corruption.
Sorry, Ba-chan, but the kids here are trying their best too. Anyway, what do you want to ask, Fusaishi? Rikako-san, can you write down the lyrics for me? It's not something we show to outsiders. Then we promise not to bring it outside. Think of it as just providing Fusaishi-kun with information.
can we?
Yes. He probably has an idea.
Need something to write with?
Yes. Thank you.
And now I had all the lyrics to Prayer to Shania. Prayer to Shania. Shania's guardians are 1 snake, 2 monkey, 3 crow, 4 spider. 5. Prepare for the feast when the evening mists arrive. 6. The badger runs along late with near as a fix. 7. The corrupt Yomi beetle rise to oppose the mountain. 8. Death of the damned Yomi beetle is the mandate. 9. 1 soul per day now to bind. 10. The mists rise away again. From the top. The first phrase was an introduction of the characters. Shania was the god of the mountain, Great Lord Shania, while the rest were his servants, excluding the wolves. There were numbers next to them, but it didn't mean the amount. It was just a numerical order. That meant that Shania's first follower was the snake. The second was the monkey. The third was the crow. And the last was the spider. The thing about the evening mist and the preparation for the feast was obviously referring to the timing when the feast of the Yomi purge had to be done. What confused me was... What's the badger?
The badger from the Tanuki badger incident, surely.
What's that?
You want to study law and you don't know? It was a major controversy in hunting law, where hunters who hunted badgers were accused of hunting Tanuki when it was forbidden. In short, the badgers turned out to be Tanuki, but it was controversial because, in that area, they were considered to be a different animal.
How's that related? Though I'm reminded of Ji-chan saying that anything with 4 dog legs is a badger.
To be specific, they're Meles anakuma. Meles anakuma? The Japanese badger. It wouldn't have been strange for hunters to use a single word for foxes, tanukis, and other similar things.
So badgers are kind of dog-like, huh? What's Nair, though?
As in Shishinare?
Shishi is an old way to say meat, as well as a way to refer to all huntable game in Japan.
Yeah, according to Kanso Ji-chan, boar, deer, it's all shishi.
I knew that already, but it was good to refresh my memory. Is that meal special?
A good shishinare is a luxury.
The one I'd eaten count as good. So that means that the badger would eventually come running and bring shishinare.
Yes.
Incidentally, you probably noticed, but this is also meant to help teach children to count. That's why each verse begins with a number. Also, the Japanese word for mist, kiri, can also mean end, which symbolizes 10 as well. I've heard that kiri symbolizing 10 comes from the Christian cross, which is shaped like the character for 10, in Christian being pronounced as kirisuto. So in other words, this was established after the spread of Christianity to Japan. As a side for Saishi-kun, what are you so curious about?
I just thought that... There's no badger, right? In Fujoshi or the Feast of the Yomi Purge, I mean. I thought I'd get an instant response, but instead I was met with silence. And with that, I think we will wrap things up right here. Thank you all so very much for coming on by. So for the rest of the following week, there is the Star Trek Watch Along on the server at 9 p.m. EST. On Friday, it's going to be
Final Fantasy V over on the Switch at 6 p.m. EST. Saturday, it will be Animorphs on Twitch at 9 p.m. EST. And Sunday on the Twitch at 8 p.m. EST, it will be Final Fantasy XIV. We'll be continuing the Hildebrand quest line. And I think starting next week, I'm going to double up on Raging Loop. So I will be playing it on Mondays and Wednesdays at 8 p.m. EST. But yes, thank you all so very much for watching. Hope that you have a wonderful time zone wherever you are. And as always, please do take care of yourselves and each other. Toodaloo-hoo!